Alright, so I'm just going to call this one I like being negative. And it's because I do. Um, I found being pessimistic or negative in general is much closer to the honest truth than any sort of optimist philosophy has ever come up with. Um, a lot of optimists tend to rely on imagination more than they do reality, where we can pretend that everything's good, God cares about us, that your suffering is not in vain, that everything you do is not in vain, um, that this relationship when you're married is going to last forever and you're happily ever after that. The honeymoon phase never wears off, anything like that. That if you didn't succeed in life, it's because you never tried hard enough, despite being a machine that will definitely try to enhance its existence. So you do that to the best of your abilities, like, oh, it's those poor kids in Bangladesh's fault that they were born in Bangladesh. Man, that, like, a lot of their shit just doesn't square up with reality. And to be honest, for lack of a better word, they're liars. Straight up, just fucking liars. And I don't think they know they're doing it either. So I'm not like necessarily condemning them for it. I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna practice any sort of philosophy, which I guess the word means either love of wisdom or love of life or something, or studying life, whatever, something like that. Um, love of life and philosophy don't tend to go together. What am I saying? Um, I'm gonna flub a little bit. Cold medicine. But I just don't see what wisdom there is in retreating to your imagination when things are getting rough. I really don't. I mean, I guess it could be a comfort to some people, but to not see as naked as possible the world in front of you just seems like such a waste to me. I don't know how to put it. It's just such, I guess, a travesty. It's kind of sad. I don't know how to phrase it, but it's like you're really missing something here. Like, the more negative I've gotten in my life, the more pessimistic I've gotten in my life, forgive me. Um, in a weird way, I've become a lot happier, which is something I guess I'm not supposed to say as an anti-natalist and a pessimist, but I'm actually a lot happier as what I'm doing now or how I am now than what I was like 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago, whatever. I'm a lot happier now than I've ever been in my life. And I think a big reason for that is I'm not lying to myself anymore. Um, I'm not getting all anxious over everything all the time. Like, obviously, I have a little bit of anxiety because you have to remain motivated in life to function. So there's always going to be a little bit of it there, but I mean, it doesn't own me like it used to, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I see and understand the mechanics of how our emotions work. Life enhancing stuff, I feel good emotions. Life diminishing or I guess negating stuff, bad emotions in a nutshell, basically. And I can understand that, and I would say it's a little bit harder to see that happening when you have good times going on for you, because they kind of sucker you in. It seems like life's always trying to sucker you in some way. Um, really, it always seems like that's the case, at least to me. The good times are the biggest, or probably the time most people get suckered in. They buy into it. They think that this is going somewhere. They think they're going somewhere grand and noble and that they're doing something magnificent. When they're basically, I guess, basically battle bots. War robots calculating their own self-interest at every second of every day for every interaction. Trying to see how they can please this person to get them to like them better so they can develop a friendship or an acquaintance so they can, monkey branch off into this and that, and or trying to secure a better job, or trying to one up people at a party with their knowledge of something, or their dance moves, or their ability to drink or do drugs, and so on and so forth. Like, that's all we really do, is we try to pursue our own advantage, and we often don't care about the cost for others. I mean, this is a violent war zone we inhabit. And so naturally, people will imagine bullshit like, oh, there's a heaven realm, or, Jesus really gives a shit about you. Because it's more comforting than the alternative of you toil, suffer, and die for nothing, which is a viewpoint I hold. And as bleak as it may sound, at least one woman in my life has told me that. She straight up told me, it's like, I don't understand how you can even live like that. I would have killed myself. But in a weird way, it kind of makes me happy to say something like that because it's more honest. I'm not necessarily saying it's 100% true. I have no idea if it's all for nothing. It just looks that way. It's what my senses are picking up. Like, all these people who busted their ass for years, get cancer and waste away in a nursing home or dementia or something, and that's it. Everything they worked for is just like, whatever. They didn't really gain anything. At least by appearance. And I can really go off of what my senses are picking up. Not necessarily, like, I don't really go off of what somebody's necessarily telling me, but you can see what I'm saying. Like, I'm not some priest in robes or something who went and studied, at a seminary somewhere for how many years. I didn't do any of that shit. And I don't need to fucking bother wasting my time with people that get involved in that shit. When the reality is staring you straight in the face. You're going to toil, suffer, and die. And as far as I can tell, you don't get anything for it. So why pretend? Why make yourself miserable? Why give yourself these insane expectations? And on top of that, put all these extra burdens on yourself. Like, for most religions, like, oh my God, did you masturbate? Holy shit, did you have extramarital sex? Did you, not wipe your ass with your left hand or something? Like, that kind of crap. And it's like, oh fuck, I fucked it up, or oh my God, I jerked off once, or whatever. I guess I forfeited eternal life. And people get all anxious and agitated because they think they're doing something wrong when a lot of the things that they say is wrong in religion isn't. Now, there's some definite wrong things that you can do, but religion seems to kind of gloss over that, especially when it comes to furthering the organization's ends, like, murder or anything like that. They're kind of cool with that. But just one of those things where I just think it's a better move to align yourself more to reality, as it is, as close as you can. I'm not perfect. Despite what I may talk a big game, but I still have little petty hopes and dreams from time to time, and I can recognize them for what they are, and I really don't indulge them. I don't dwell on them too much. I'll be like, oh, this girl, pretty girl's giving me the eyes. I hope she likes me or something. I don't dwell on that shit anymore. Because I found it's useless to really hope for anything. What's going to happen is going to happen, and you're kind of out of control. I guess Amendum might find some issue with that, but whatever. I'm not an Amendum disciple necessarily. He's kind of right. Yeah, he's right in the sense that if you understand certain things, you'll perform better actions. But the problem is a lot of people don't understand what a lot of us are talking about, so they're going to perform the same actions. And that there's a massive chain of cause and effect that led up to even just us being here. So in a way, it's kind of out of our hands. The fact that I know what I know, I probably wouldn't have known it if I was born like a decade earlier. It may have been too late. That kind of stuff. Some of the stuff is really just out of our hands. But I think overall, if you can adopt a more, I would consider a more realistic viewpoint, though most people would find it kind of bleak and negative. I think you'll be a much, I wouldn't say necessarily like happy, like, clicking your heels happy, but you'll have a much more contented life. At least that's been the case for me so far. I don't go out and try to, impress the ladies. I don't try to go out and get the newest fashion or car or constantly upgrading my home or anything. I'm not bothered by any of that shit. I'm happy, generally speaking, if I'm not suffering. And that I understand to I guess, a greater extent than most people, how life really works. As far as we're concerned, I can't claim to know everything about it, but I know more than enough to see through a lot of the games that are being played, and it doesn't really have quite the hold on me that it used to. And that is I guess, in a sense, a power that you can get. It's kind of coming from. It's not necessarily you be like your happiness is not necessarily contingent on, you know, getting the latest gadget or uh, hooking up with a hotter chick or man or whatever, or making more money. It's not really contingent necessarily on that. It's the fact that you understand how you work, if that makes any sense. And it gives you a sense of, I guess, yeah, contentedness to a certain degree. Obviously, and Spinoza mentioned this, like, there are things that can overwhelm you in life. Like, I would probably be a wreck if one of my parents died, or one of my siblings died, or one of my good friends died, or any of that. Like, I would probably not be in a very good place for a while because it would overwhelm my sensibilities. But at the same time, like, I recognize that, if I'm being honest about the situation I find myself in, that either I go or my parents go first, either I go or my siblings go first, either I go or my friends go first. And so I get ready as much as possible because nothing is permanent here. I I guess if anything else, I'm counting down my days. Might be kind of a lame thing to do for most people, but I don't care. I'm not living other people's lives, I'm living mine. I'm here to serve my sentence on planet Earth. I understand the jail that I'm in. And I'm just here to serve my term, and then once it's done, I'm done. That's that. Make of that whatever you want. But, anyways, I think that's that. I just think that if, given a more honest assessment of your life and your position in it would probably lead you to be a lot happier. As weird and counterintuitive as that may sound to some people, I found that it's definitely worked for me. So, give it a shot or don't. Anywho, thank you for listening. Have a good one.